Hello and good evening, everyone. It's Frank with the Dastardly Gentleman. Tonight I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Star Wars Rogue One, give you a little bit of a primer before the movie comes out. Splash screen! Boop boop! Now, I just got done reading Star Wars Rogue One Catalyst, a book that's supposed to come out just before the movie to give you a little bit of motivational background on the different characters. And while not being a very particularly good book, not so much that's not well written, so much as the subject matter is kind of dull as dishwater, it does give you a little bit of a foremention on Jane Erso's parents, Galen Erso and Lyra Erso. It also gives you some principal background on the main antagonist of the film, which is Orson Krennic. Now, all these characters have been basically made up for Rogue One, so other than this book, there really isn't any information that leads up to these characters. Which, to be perfectly honest, is completely fine, considering that in the book, they're pretty much dull as hell, so in the movie, they look like they're going to be a lot more interesting. Basically, the two main characters, Galen Erso and Orson Krennic, both attended the same intergalactic Hitler youth camp, where they called it the Futures Program, where they take up-and-coming gifted individuals in one particular field or another and attempt to groom them to become the best they can be in a specialized environment so that the Republic can make the most out of them, the most use out of them. Galen's particular talent tended to lend itself towards energy enrichment through the use of kyber crystal research. Kyber crystals, like lightsaber crystals. He wanted to take his research and use it to improve the lives and living of all the people that were living in fringe worlds that had little to no ability to have energy enrichment or the more civilized niceties of a place like, say, Coruscant. Orson Krennic's great superpower in the galaxy lended to being, aside from just being a prodigious engineer, to also being a ginormous asshole that all he does is take advantage of people and put people where he wants to and is a master manipulator. Some people would call that a supervisor. So he's the galactic equivalent of that supervisor that you hate so much while you're at work.
Hello, Peter. What's happening? I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow.
During the advent of the Clone Wars, the two separated from the Futures Program, and Galen went along with being basically a super duper pacifist. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He wants to use his energy, and he won't have people weaponize it without his say-so, and he won't have his say-so, which leaves both the Republic and the Separatists to separate occasions to attempt to kidnap him in one form or another, ultimately taking Krennic, who's on a special weapons program, to develop a not a moon, but definitely probably more than likely a battle station kind of project. One that, with enough energy, could quite possibly have the greatest earth-shattering kaboom the galaxy had ever known. But he needed that special pow, that special something. Like, maybe a kyber crystal that's the size of a Volkswagen. Oh shit, he found one. Oh, well, I guess he's gonna go ahead and try to find something to do with that. So then, through a long list of galactic manipulations and mind games, he manages to convince Erso to help him, at the time helping the Republic, to enrich this giant Volkswagen-sized kyber crystal to be, quote-unquote, for the better of the galaxy. So it was the Republic, and then it was the Empire, and now all of a sudden, Orson gives all of these lightsaber crystals to Galen, and he doesn't, well, he says, gosh, where did you get all these? They're all cut and faceted and... Oh, these are from Jedi, aren't they? You killed Jedi for these, didn't you? Well, I mean, they don't need him anymore, right? I mean, younglings.
What are we going to do?
Pfft. Now, around this time in the book, Lyra Erso, Galen's wife, starts to become kind of suspicious of Krennic's behavior, and in the book, they describe Lyra as having extreme force sensitivity. Now, she doesn't have the abilities to manipulate the force like Jedi do, but she does have the ability to sense it around her, which makes me concerned for the movie because I was really hoping that Jane was just going to be your run-of-the-mill rebel shooting guns, having fun, blowing stuff up. But I'm afraid she might just be touched a little with the force, and that's going to make me kind of a little bit disappointed. I was really kind of hoping for more run and gun, but that's neither here nor there. Now, in order for Lyra to be placated, Krennic sends her to go do a crystal finding mission with smuggler Hasso Bead and one of her friends. The problem with this is that Haas has been used to both rescue the Ersos early on in the book, and now he's being sort of used as a chauffeur to help the Empire take over planets and then strip mine them until they're uninhabitable. And he's starting to feel kind of crappy about it, so sending him with Lyra and Jane, who's still a baby, to a super force-sensitive planet makes him kind of start to reflect on what he's done and whether or not he wants to keep doing it. And it turns out he really doesn't want to. Now at this point is whenever you get to see some characters that we already actually know of and are in the established lore. The first is Saw Gerrera, which you see in the Clone Wars fighting for independence from the Separatists, and there's a whole thing with him. I ain't gonna get into that, but in the movie he's played by Forrest Whitaker, and he looks super duper grizzled, and he joins Haas in the effort to go and help one of the planets to be freed from the Empire, because the Empire is going to destroy everyone and they don't want to go out without a fight. The problem is, the person that they're going to go out without a fight with is Grand Moff Tarkin, who I actually don't think Grand Moff Tarkin knows how to do anything other than planetary annihilation. I'm pretty sure it's in his job description. I mean, the man probably has a little business card that says, "Have Death Star will travel," or a little name tag that says, "Hi, I'm a mass murderer. Would you please like to hug me?" The thing about Grand Moff Tarkin, though, is that he's not 100% sure exactly what Krennic is up to with the weapons platform, or really what it's for, but he really knows that he doesn't think Krennic really should be the one in charge of it. Obviously, it should be him. So anything that he can do to try to sabotage Krennic he's probably going to do. Now, Krennic does the exact same thing to Tarkin at multiple times throughout the book, which are all incidental because it doesn't really matter. But long story short, Obit and Gerrera's rebellion does not win. They lose flat out. Tarkin destroys everything and the Empire wins. Gerrera and Obit are taken prisoner, and that's whenever Tarkin has the opportunity to interrogate him, and he finds out that Obit is friends with the Ersos. Now he sees this as a grand opportunity to massively screw over Krennic, so he releases Obit and Gerrera so that they can go and they can pick up the Ersos and they can whisk them away to safety, so that Krennic's glory at having captured the scientist and had him make the weapons platform and the super weapon is just smoke in the wind, leaving Grand Moff Tarkin to be the overseer of the Death Star and Krennic's boss. So he gets the last hurrah and the last giggle giggle snorkel snorkel. Now all this is basically happening at the same time, but on the other end of the galaxy in Coruscant, Erso figures out that his research is being used as a weapon. And so he decides to drop everything and take off and run away, and that's whenever Obit and Gerrera show up, and they pick him up, and they take Jane and Galen and Lyra to a faraway, unspecified planet, and Gerrera says that he's going to watch over the family to make sure that the Empire doesn't get him, because they know that energy of this level is going to be used as a monumental weapon. Meanwhile, Krennic gets demoted, the Vice Chancellor makes fun of him, Moff Tarkin makes fun of him. He basically gets super duper pissed off, and he vows that he will absolutely see Galen Erso finish this project, make the super weapon, and bring peace to the galaxy through fear. Boom, there you go, you're all caught up. That is the overarching story for Rogue One Catalyst. The book itself, it's kind of boring, so you spend 10 minutes of your time to learn a little bit more before you go see the movie, which I'm sure is going to be absolutely fantastic. Looks all kinds of rip-roaringly, explodey, happy, whatever. You get to see Darth Vader. That is smashing. Darth Vader doesn't even make a remote appearance, nor does the Emperor in the book. So hopefully we get a lot more out of that in the movie. Anyway, if you liked what you heard, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought. Hopefully you found this informative. Maybe you found it entertaining. I don't know. But I definitely enjoyed making it. We'll see you guys more content. Bye-bye.